than you, Dana.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mary. Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
let
Go
you go
ahead.
first.
He's just mad.
Go ahead, Mary.
Go ahead.
No, you had mentioned Felicia Rashad back then, and how she was like. Again, the point of a lot of that is the men were different back then. We don't the same way y'all want those women from back then. We don't get the same men from back then. So how could you expect us to act a certain way when we're not even getting those men that acted that way
Mm.
back then?
This might be risky. Let me take over. I beg to differ. More men now, black men, are wealthier. In the 80s, you didn't have a lot of black men with net worths over $1 million. Now you have a lot of black men with net worths over $1 million. Now you have a lot more black men who are collegiately educated. Truth be told, it wasn't really until a different world where a lot of black people started going to college at a high level. You had a lot of dope fiends in the 80s. The criminal rate, the crime rate was absolutely through the roof in the 80s. People forget about that. All you gotta do is go back and look at stats. Look at stats in cities. Men now are way more intellectual than back in the 80s. All I'm saying is on TV, yeah, they may have painted this picture of everybody's all refined and elegant. Just like back in the 60s, you thought all Negroes wore suits. No, they didn't. Most Negroes were backwatered buffoons living in the damn deep South. But see, they showed you the elite blacks. That was the media marketing blacks like that. But in actuality, most blacks were just toothless Bama hillbillies, just like the whites were. That's the truth. That were living in the deep south before the Great Migration. So you can get these types of women now, especially with men. It's just the men have to require it now from the Instagram thoughts. Like a man like myself, you have to tell them, hey, you're gonna be like this. You can't come out the house dressed like a hoe.
I think she's.
But
Let me just get clarity real quick, Mary. Well, back then the men weren't talking about let's split 50-50 and let's go Dutch and things of that nature. Just talking about just stuff like that. You don't think that's changed?
right, so men are making more money, but
I
they're
don't know.
not. Again, because they know where women are now and the standard of having to do it on their own and knowing how to do it on their own, they're trying to break down the role. No matter how much money they make, you listen, like you still gotta, do your part somewhere. You can't just be here making kids and whatever. Like you gotta have something going on too. So
Can I
that
say something? Mhm.
go ahead.
This might be risky. This is gonna. I think they may leave after this one. Um, no offense, but I don't know how the '80s were. I was born in '84. I don't really know how the '80s were. But what I do know now is this: a woman over 30 um, is competing with a 20-year-old who works at Chick-fil-A. Uh, if you're 30 and a woman, it's probably best that if you're still single, that you do go Dutch with a man, because that same man, he's gonna more or less go and date the 20-year-old girl who's super hot and probably pay for everything because she may or not can afford it, or because she's hotter than the 30-year-old. You can't be 30 and thinking, damn, he got to do everything for me. It doesn't work like that. And the older you get, if you're about 40, you might have to pay for a dinner or two for a man or something. You just have to. You're
That's
not young
inaccurate.
enough. And
Did you
no,
marry
you're
a 25-year-old or a 20-year-old? What did you
it,
marry?
hear me out for a minute. Hear me out for a minute. It's not about me today.
No, 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 it is about you. You speaking a whole lot. You have strong
Ma'am,
opinions. What
ma'am,
did
it's
you
not about,
marry?
ma'am.
I'm just
My wife,
asking, getting
my wife,
clarity.
she's young. She's young. She's not real young, but she's
She's in her
young.
20s.
She's in her late 20s. Yes.
She's in her late 20s. So
Yes.
you
And she
did go
doesn't,
young.
she doesn't practice law anymore. But what I'm saying is that a woman can't be over 40 expecting a man to pay for everything. You're not hot enough. You're not cute enough. You're not slim enough compared to the 20-year-old, the 23-year-old. So yes, if I'm a man, if I'm 40 and I'm dating some 23-year-old, of course I'm really just paying for the pussy because she's young and hot. But if you're 40, come on, man, you can't expect no man. Come on, baby, I got everything. Come on, man, it don't work like that.
Yeah,
It
you're
don't work.
speaking for both sides because we don't
It
want
don't
no
work.
old shriveled up balls either. You're speaking for both sides. We want the young hot thing with the abs and the dick that still works too. So we agree on that one.
I have a couple questions if I can. And let's Hamp,
Do
you look like
you?
you're about to move on. Is it cool?
No, no, yeah, yeah, it's cool. I just wonder, sis, do you think that those options are open to women as they are men as we get older?
You talking about the our
Like
options?
younger options.
Yeah, I got like two of them in my phone. You know, they was looking for me the other night. So yes,
Okay, so you're saying that overall women have those same options, and it's not just for sex; it's for relationships.
it's for whatever it is. He just said men go after younger women for pussy. So whatever you want, they're willing to give it. You'll be surprised.
Okay,
And he also just said that it shouldn't be a problem for us if we acted as Felicia Rashad did, that it wouldn't be a problem for us to find a man that would act that way. So I'm not quite understanding what side of the fence he's on, because it's, kind of going back and forth, but that's neither here nor there.
well, I think the age has something that comes into play. Now there's something contrary, Mary. You can clear up, because I've also heard that the men in the past used to beat the women, and the women only stayed because they didn't have jobs and stuff. But are you saying that those men were better, even though I hear the color purple syndrome, and it's been set up here numerous times? So which one is it? Is it the men of yesteryear, we're not the same men as them? Or are you talking specifically about the crack era and when Reaganomics hit? So like, I just want to understand, because I've heard that before. Women only stayed because they had no choice.
Okay, so I never made that statement, so I don't know where that comes from, but I'm speaking in regards to the providing, the protecting, and things of that such. Women still get their ass whooped now. You know what I'm saying? It's just being talked about more on a larger scale than it did back then. So that's just something that's never going to stop. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you made that point, but you may have been up. Like, I've heard that point made a bunch of times.
Yeah, I've heard it. But I'm just saying that's not a point that I've made.
Right.
Okay.
I said it. Marie didn't say it. I said it.
Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we out.